Okay, direct variation, inverse variation, combined and joint, compares at least 3 items. I am not making a distinction between combined and joint, but the way that they do it is the combined is this first one, the joint is the second 2 that are there. I'm not making any distinction between them because to me they're basically the same type of thing. So if we look at that, and I can't find my eraser, there it is. Looking at problem number 1 on that page 34, it has C equals 12M. Yes, I realize that it doesn't have a K, a Y, or an X in it, right? But when you're talking about direct variation forms, it doesn't matter what the letters are. If I compare it to those 5 or 6 things that I wrote down, okay, that you were to write down, which one of these does it go with? It goes with direct because it kind of follows into the form y equals kx, doesn't it? Right? So the first one would be a direct variation. And what would be my constant of variation? Well, it's the number. It's right there, which means that the constant k would be a 12. So that means problem number 2, where we have P equals 4 over Q. Well, does this one look like the one that we just did? Because it has this division in it, doesn't it? It only compares 2 things, doesn't it? So you either have a choice of a direct or an inverse. So it'd probably be an inverse. So it'd be an inverse variation. And where is my k located at in an inverse variation? It's in the numerator, isn't it? So in this case, the k would be 4. So problem number 3. A equals 1/2 BH. Well, how many things do I have in here? I actually have 3. I have the A, the B, and the H, right? Do you agree? So either you can call it, I said I'm not making any differentiation between, you can either call it a combined or joint. They probably will label it as combined. If you label it as joint, I would take it. Because you're comparing 3 things, right? And what would my K be? 1/2. It will be the constant of variation, because that's the number that's in that expression. Make sense? Okay. So that means as I go on, 4 is RW equals 15. Right now that doesn't follow into any of those forms that I wrote down on your thing, but it compares 2, doesn't it? Compares 2 items, an R and a W. Huh? Okay. I need to move either the R or the W over to this side. I don't care which one you pick. So that means, which letter do you want to pick, an R or a W? R. That means, don't I have to divide both sides by R? Which means I'd have W equals 15 over R. And that does follow into the form of inverse with a K that's equal to 15. These make sense now? Okay. So let's go with number 5. Y equals 2RGT. How many things am I comparing? Actually, I'm comparing 4. The Y, the R, the G, and the T. So if I'm comparing more than 2, what's it going to be? Okay, it's going to be combined or joint. What's my K? 2. So problem number 6. F equals 5,280 M's.
Direct.
It's going to be direct. The K is going to be 5,280. Number 7. Y equals 0.2D. It's going to be direct. And it is going to be K equals 0.2. So then we have problem number 8, where you have VZ equals negative 25. Okay, here the two letters are together, aren't they? So you have to pick one of them and move it to the other side by division. And I already heard somebody tell me what the answer is, but pick a letter. I don't care which letter. So I need to divide both sides by V, so that I'd have Z equals a negative 25 over V. And as somebody already said, it's indirect. And my K would be a negative 25. Okay. Nine. T equals 16RH. How many items am I comparing?
3.
So it's probably going to be combined. And a K of 16. So 10. R equals 8 over W. Inverse. K will equal 8. Number 11. B equals 1/3 A. How many items am I comparing? 2, the B and the A. It's going to be direct, because this happens to be in the numerator, doesn't it? Not in the denominator, still in the numerator. So the K would be 1/3. 12. C equals 2 pi R. Huh? Actually, don't you know a value for 2 pi? 2 times 3.14, blah, 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 blah. So this would actually be direct, because you're comparing two things, the circumference with the radius. And the K would be 2 pi. All right?
Do you want to?
And I'm going to go work on problem 13 right now. If y varies directly as x, they're using x and y. How are you going to set it up?
35.
Y equals kx then, right? That's a direct variation, isn't it? The form. Could I have x equals ky? Absolutely. It doesn't matter. Bless you. So the first set of numbers are what?
35.
So I'd have 35 equals k times 7. So what's my k gonna equal?
5.
What happens when I want to find when x is equal to 11? I use the same exact expression that I started with and substitute in the numbers that I know. I know if k is 5 right now, and I know the new x is 11, isn't it? So I'm trying to find y. So y will be 55.
Okay, I got that same answer, but I did it differently.
How did you do it?
I set up like 2 fractions, and I set them equal to.
So you went 35 over 7 equals,
I split it over 11.
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
And I
just
have
brought
7 y
multiply.
squared equals 35 times 11.
Okay? That'll work with a direct variation, but will not work with an inverse.
I didn't do inverse,
yeah.
because I didn't know I could do inverse.
The inverse one is easier to set up as y equals k over x to solve. Yes, you can do this with a direct one, easily. Okay? Not inappropriate. It's okay to do. If you don't set up, you can set up a ratio like that with an inverse, but you have to put them in specific orders, in specific places, in order to be true. That's why an inverse is easier to do as y equals k over x. Will be your most consistent. So that should take care of now 14, 15, and 16 for you to do, right? 17. Anybody have any trouble with 17?
No.
Okay. How about 18? 19? 20?
Yes.
What's the general form of an inverse relationship?
Y was k over x.
Okay? Is y equals k over x. So on number 20, if y varies inversely as x, and y is equal to 2, when x is equal to 2. Correct? I have to find my k right now. Well, how can I find k?
Yeah, multiply by 2.
So that means that I'd have 4 equals k. By cross multiplying, because I could do this, 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times k is k. Using that same expression that I used up here, y equals k over x. What do I know right now?
K.
K is 4, x is 1, and I need to find y, don't I? So the y would equal 4.
I like it. I did all of this wrong because that's it. I didn't know how to do it.
And I did the inverse and the same way as the
I did all of the same.
So we okay with that? Does that make sense on how to set up 21? 22? About 23?
I need help with that one.
Okay. 23. If y varies directly as z and inversely as x. So I'm going to compare 3 things, right? Y varies. Where's my k always at? It's always in the numerator, isn't it? Right? If it varies directly as z, directly means that it's going to be in the numerator. So the z comes up here. Inversely as x, in a denominator. So now I've set up my function for this problem. So, as x and y equals 27z. So the y is 27. The k I don't know. The z is a negative 3. and the x is 2. So it becomes simple substitution, right? How am I going to solve for k? I'd probably do cross multiplication, so I'd have 27 times 2. Anybody have any idea what 27 times 2 is?
54.
54. Huh?
I knew that. I did mental math.
Yay!
I didn't want to solve
Equals a negative 3k. So I have to divide both sides by a negative 3.
16.
17.
18? 18.
A negative 18. Negative 18. Okay? Using the same function that I wrote up here, y equals kz over x. I know the k right now, don't I? So I put in a negative 18 for the k. What else do I know from the problem?
Y is 9.
So y is 9.
And 5, yeah.
Z is 5, so the Z5 goes here. I need to find x, don't I? Well, making this a fraction, cross multiply, 9 times x is 9x equals, mental math, what's 5 times a negative 18? What's 5 times 8? 40, right?
90.
Carry the 4. What's 5 times 1? 5 times 1 is 5, and add the 4, so I'd have a negative 90, wouldn't I?
Okay, I had it right. I got the k right, and I set up my problem like that. But then I had something way wrong, so I ended up with negative 810.
I don't know how you got
I
it.
didn't solve it like that.
You took 9 times a negative 90.
Well, yeah, but I don't. That's because I solved them different than you guys. I don't understand that.
So that's problem number 23. Nope, just one. Your final x or y, whatever you're looking for. You will find a k first of all. So problem number 24. Y varies directly. Y varies directly as z. So where's the z going to go? So I'd have kz.
What does the K do?
It's called a constant of variation.
You always have a k.
You always have the k. It's always in the numerator. Yep. And inversely as x. So it looks similar to the one we just did on 23, correct?
Yep.
Only you're going to have different numbers. Y is a negative 15. Z is 5, so I'd have k times 5. X is 5. Alright? How am I going to solve for k?
15 and multiply 5 times negative 15. Negative 105.
5 times 15 is not negative 105.
No, it's not. I added wrong. It's like 75.
Yeah, it is. Negative 75 equals 5k. So k is equal to
15.
negative 15.
So you got that.
Alright? Using the same thing that I started with, that same expression, says find x when the y is a negative 36. You now know the k is a negative 15, and you know the z as a negative 3. And I need to find x.
So negative 36x.
Positive 45.
Okay? So X would be 45 over negative 36. Can that be reduced?
Yeah,
Yeah.
by 9.
By 9?
Maybe 5 and 6, 5, 6.
Negative six. No, 30.
No, it'd be 5 and 4.
5 and 4.
Negative 4.
And I'd probably put my negative up here with a 5. So negative 5/4.
Yeah.
Yep, we're done with